Nigesh-Zeta worked out that if he took stem cell or DNA from the ribs of Enki and Ninma, Nigesh-Zeta then injected it into the first Homo sapiens. Whatever it was that was blocked or missing or needed changing worked. The male and female could have kids. This was perfect, but the gods needed more of these workers to help them. But before the women that Enki asked could be surrogate mothers, Ninma took the blood from the female Tiamat and used that and her DNA to create the new babies. This way, all of the new Homo sapiens would be able to have children. And that's what they done. Later, the 7 more males and 7 more females were born. This was enough to create a gene pool that could breed with each other. When scientists trace mtDNA backwards, all current maternal lines eventually converge on one woman. That woman is called mitochondrial Eve, which backs up Ninma using the blood from the first female. Nearly all of them came out darker-skinned. They were primitive. They didn't understand language and had to be shouted at for them to understand the most basic of tasks. Enki took them to the Abzu, Africa, and got them to help carry the baskets of rocks out of the mines. They didn't complain. The new species here on Earth would eat grass, fruit, and over time learn to kill and eat animals. The 300 younger Anunnaki, led by Anzu, the grandson of Alula, were stationed on Mars as an away station, where they would store the gold from Earth until their planet came around closest to them. Then they would drop the gold to Nibiru. Time passed on Earth. Enki tinkered with more hybrid creatures, but the process of getting the ore from the mines and taking it to Mesopotamia to be refined then to Mars wasn't going quick enough.
This is not working, and we need more gold, quicker!
The gold wasn't the best type of gold, and they had to make it a powder. Over thousands of years, the Homo sapiens learned to speak. It wasn't very good, but they understood just enough. The Anunnaki took some of the descendants of the Homo sapiens from Africa to help in Mesopotamia and Eridu. These workers were never given clothes. Because there were now Homo sapiens in the Mesopotamia, the Anunnaki thought they should have kingship. This would please the non-royal Anunnaki and would make them feel important, even though Enlil was in charge as the King of Kings. The first king was Alulim. He ruled the city of Eridu for 28,800 years. Back on Lahmu, we call Mars, the young Igigi were working very hard. The air on Mars used is thin, and they need to make above-ground tunnels to move around. It's a shame their planet Nibiru ruined the atmosphere on Mars. The gravity and pull of the huge planet Nibiru was too much for it. There might have been intelligent life on Mars once, long before the Igigi were stationed on the planet, but the Martians wouldn't have been able to travel to other planets. Otherwise, they would have came to Earth, and we have zero evidence a species that came before the Anunnaki and could travel in space. The few animals left on Mars will sadly all die. There will be something that happens to Mars, but I'll cover that when the time happens. For now, the Igigi grumble, but get on with the work.
Really short advert.
Want to see documentaries that have solved mysteries you didn't think could be solved? With evidence, identified Lucifer and his parents, identified who Yahweh really was, proved the Norse gods were the Anunnaki, proved the mark of the beast has already occurred, identified the true Greek god Kronos, not Zeus's father, as an Anunnaki, and so much more. There's only one researcher that has done this. There's only one website, ourtruehistory.co.uk.
On Earth, progress was slow, even with the Homo sapiens now breeding and helping. Nothing much happened between the time Enki created the first Homo sapiens around 300,000 years ago to around 100,000 years ago. But that's when everything changed. That's when the Bible mixes up the Adam and Eve story. The first Homo sapiens were not Adam and Eve, but around 100,000 years ago, Enki had an idea. He loved creating new creatures using DNA splicing. We know those creatures as myths, and we would fall for that lie if it wasn't for the fact we can now do the same using CRISPR, clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, is a revolutionary gene editing technology adapted from a bacterial immune system, acting like molecular scissors to precisely cut, add, or remove DNA sequences in living organisms. Enki thought to himself, what if an Anunnaki and a Homo sapien actually bred, not like Enki using DNA to create a Homo sapien from a Neanderthal, but actually bred as in having babies together? What would that baby be like, Enki thought? Would it be the same as the Homo sapien? Would be deformed? Would it even be able to talk and have intelligence like the Anunnaki? A lot of questions Enki wanted answered, but there's a problem. Even though he is a prince, the other Anunnaki wouldn't want their bloodline corrupted with hybrid children. This would go against the way the Anunnaki had as a rule of succession. Who would inherit their planet Nibiru if children were hybrids? Enki needed a plan, and he came up with one. Enki and his right-hand man went out on a small rowing boat and came across to Homo sapien women. They were dark-skinned and naked. Enki jumped ashore and had his way with both of the women. They were a lot smaller than Enki, but it seemed to work. There's many reasons why it could have worked. Just look at the Greek gods' statues that are naked. The Anunnaki men might not have had larger-size manhood than what we have today. Regardless, Enki left and told his aide to keep an eye on the women. He did, and found out they both were pregnant. 9 Earth months passed, and one female gave birth at dawn and the other at dusk. Enki's aide picked up the babies and put them in a reed bast. He rushed back to Eridu, where Enki was at that time. The aide was shouting, my lord, look what I have found." This was all part of Enki's plan. Enki comes out to sea and shouts, "Look at those creatures, they are like us. They look like our image." This is because the two children were pale skin and blue eyes. Enki shouts, "This must be a mutation from the humans. We shall look after these two and keep them safe." I'm sure most of the other Anunnaki that heard about this didn't fall for the lie and probably guessed they were Enki's children. Enki's wife also looked after them, as the children got to about 1 year old of Earth's time. Enki noticed they took longer than the Homo sapiens to grow. This means they had some of the Anunnaki's longer life. They also could talk and were intelligent. The two babies were named Adapa and Titi. You know them as Adam and Eve, the first Homo sapien, modern man. There were whispers that Enki heard that showed many of the Anunnaki didn't want the children in his building in Eridu. The others wanted the children gone. Enki had one choice to keep his secret children safe. You won't believe what he'd done.
I hope you are enjoying these. If you want to watch the other episodes or watch one of my thousands of documentaries, please visit ourtruehistory.co.uk. Please reshare or repost this. It really helps me keep researching and making content. Thank you. Our True History.
I'm Enki, your father who art in space. You have all been wondering what this bag is.
Didn't anyone notice in carvings we don't have pockets? It's just a bloody bag, you primitive workers.
Finally, someone has found out who I really was. The only person to have solved so many things. Check out his website for the evidence. Our true history.co.uk.